So hi Brian, so what's it like to be back at the Brit here today?
It's always nice coming back here, you know. I mean, I worked here, oh wow, 98, so it's quite some time ago. But I've got strong connections here. You know, my wife's family are all Stokies and big fans. My sister-in-law is a season ticket holder. Her mother's a season ticket holder. So in the family, you know, my wife's side of the family are all from this area. And, you know, they're massive fans. So whenever, say, the likes of Villa are playing Stoke, there's a massive sort of fallout in our house. I mean, great connections here, but obviously 20-odd years of my life with Aston Villa. But I like it here. Don't come as often as I'd like to come. But as I've said, I've got family connections who are here week in and week out.
Great memories of being manager here, obviously 98, 99. What would your standout memories be of managing here?
Well, I won Manager of the Month first 2 months of the season back at that time, and I joined the club when they'd been relegated to the third tier of English football, you know, which was a real blow for everyone. The ITV money collapse sent the club in a downward spiral. So I took over at a period where it was important to try, and there was a lot of people earning more money than they could have earned in Division 3, which would be, as to look at it in simplicity firms. So my job was really to try and change that around, get those players moved on and bring in other players. And of all the transfers I did, I mean, I didn't spend a penny. Everybody was a free transfer. And as I've said, first 2 months of the season, that's my standout memory. You know, along with Man City, who were in that division at that time as well. We were top and second of the third tier for the first 2 months of the season. And that really was brilliant. Two Manager of the Month awards. We just missed out on the playoffs by the end of the season. But it was great. We had it was a good time. It was a tough time. It was a time when the club was really down. But I think I sort of steadied the ship somewhat and gave it a platform to build from. And then the likes of Gary Megson and of course Tony came in after that and took the club in the right direction.
Obviously had to make a fair few signings. A lot of things changed at the club that year. Who would you say your best signing was?
Well, it's hard to say, but I had, you know, local lads like Phil Robinson, who played for me at Aston Villa at junior level, was a good signing. It's crazy, they were all free transfers, so people probably wouldn't remember. Brian Small came in, Gavin Ward as a goalkeeper came in. You know, we brought lots of lads in to play alongside the likes of Kyle Lightbourne, who was here. It was a different phase in you know, I think you'd have to look to the older people to remember some of the lads who played in my period here, because you know, they're not really household names, and it was a real test of trying to sort the club out. So it was one of those things that I think I've probably got a reputation of having done over my career. You know, go to clubs who were in the wrong end of the table. We generally played with 3 centre-backs, so we played a system that was very strong. We were a hard side to beat, and that was the way we went here. But it was free transfers for as cheap as we could get them, and it was hard work, but really enjoyable. The fans here were fantastic. As I've said, the first couple of months of the season they were bouncing. Then some sort of realisation set in that it was a little bit more difficult than we'd actually started. And I think it was the defeat at Man City that really just sent us on a little bit of a downward spell. But we did well. You know, it was a good opening season in a period where the club needed some stability. And to see it today, it's fantastic. I mean, the ground's still pretty much the same. The facilities behind the scenes are different. The training facilities are different. We used to train at Keele University. So, you know, there's lots of things about the whole setup which are on a completely different scale nowadays. And it's great to see, to be honest.
Obviously, the fans remember you as a steadying hand at the club. Yeah. It's amazing to see how the club's grown since then, isn't it? I mean, how far they've come and what they've achieved now. I mean, in the Premier League, stability in the Premier League. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Tony did a great job in first of all taking them there, and then of course Mark Hughes has done an equally good job and potentially even a better job as time goes by. You know, they're playing some really good stuff. They're totally safe, been safe for quite some time. They've been in a very confident position. I think probably from a distance, the only disappointment perhaps that Mark might have been going out of the FA Cup the way they did. I actually commentated on that game in Dublin. And you know, they started the game well, then there was the sending off and the penalty, and they never recovered from that, because you know, you looked at that time and you could have said, well, Stoke were the type of team who probably could have done really well in the FA Cup. So I guess, and whether Mark might disagree with me or not, but I think looking at from my point of view as being a commentator, the co-commentator these days, I guess that game was a game which, had they won that, I mean Blackburn went very far in the competition, so I think that was a big blow to them that day, and that's a game that sticks in my mind more than anything else. But they've done really well. They've done fantastic, not only this season, for quite some years now, and it's great to see the names who play here. You know, we've got Bojan playing from Barcelona now. It's on a different scale, really. It's great to see.
I'm going to say, how is that as a comparison, you know, to the time you were here, and now you've got all these international stars playing for Stoke City?
Yeah, well, Phil Robinson, who I signed, you know, ended up at Stafford Rangers and things like that. So I don't think you get more of a difference in many respects. Phil was a great lad, did really well for me. Ended up being a manager in football as well, and now works for Manchester City in football. So, you know, we all go on in our different ways and do different things. As I've said, I came here in a period where the club was at its lowest point. And I'd like to think that I, as I said, stabilised the ship a little bit. And it is just fantastic to see them where they are today. It's great to come back. As I've said, my family are connected with the club, my wife's family. So, you know, there's always conversation going on. My wife sends that many tweets out about Mark Hughes being brilliant and Tony Pulis being brilliant before that. So I have to put up with that, which is which is not easy to take up. But yeah, great. And I do have a strong connection still here.
So what are you up to now? Obviously, apart from the punditry, you've got a role at the FA, as we can see from your jacket.
Yeah, I do some consultancy work out in Jersey at the moment for the Jersey FA. I mean, you know, all these smaller nations now, with seeing Gibraltar getting to the European Championships, are very aware of the possibility of them doing the same. And I think as time goes by, you will see like more of a global situation where the smaller islands, the smaller places will get qualification tournaments to perhaps get into the main tournaments. So I'm just trying to raise the profile of football on the island. You know, for example, Jersey is a bigger island than Gibraltar. They have more training facilities, more male teams. They have a full centre of excellence run under the conditions of the Football Association of England. So everything is in place for the island to perhaps let their football players have a chance of playing at a higher level. It is still grassroots, of course, but it's a fascinating role for me. It's given me something different to do, and I do loads of co-commentary on football now, in Champions League, Europa League, Premier League football. Last week I did some work on a conference game, so I cover all aspects of the game. I've got a fond connection to it. It was very good to me as a football player, and probably even better to me as a football manager. And to walk away from it totally would be silly, really. I don't want to be a football manager anymore. That has been given up for quite some years now. But to go to football matches, watch football matches, give an opinion on football matches. Slightly different to most of the commentators today, or co-commentators, because a lot of them are younger lads who've played. You know, I've played and I've managed at every single level of the game, from the conference all the way through to the Premier League. So I like to think I'd give it a little slightly different slant on what's going on out there, and try and give a view of, you know, what a manager might be thinking at any one time, whether they'll be thinking of substitutions, whether his system's working, what players he might want to put on. So I enjoy that side of it, you know. But football is a fantastic game. It's a great industry to be involved in. You know, I'm now 61, closing in on 62. So I've been involved with it since I was 15-year-old in one capacity or another. So I think I've been blessed in many respects. And even coming here today and talking to you lads, it's fantastic to meet you all. And obviously it's great to watch Stoke, and hopefully we can see them finish off the season with another win today.
What do you think the score's going to be today to end it?
Well, I think they're playing a very good team. We've got a lot of good players today. But, you know, this place is not the easiest ground in the world to come to. For whatever reason, they have that wonderful reputation of being a very difficult side to play against. And as ever, I think, you know, the first goal is always important in games like this. And I think if Stoke can get the first goal, then I can see them going on and winning the game. Brilliant. All right. Thank you very much indeed.